Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jared Rand. Welcome to the Global Guided Meditation Call for Monday, December 23, 2024, a little after 3:30 p.m. Eastern. We'll be having a time for change call this Wednesday night, a little after 3:15 or 9:15 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about what's to really come. What is actually going to take place. Man's chief delusion is his conviction that there are causes other than his own state of consciousness. All that befalls a man, all that is done by him, all that comes from him happens as a result of his state of consciousness. A man's consciousness is all that he thinks and desires and loves, all that he believes is true and consents to. That is why a change of consciousness is necessary before you can change your outer world. Neville Goddard. It isn't. Yeah, I'm not saying that for some it's not a big challenge, because these bodies are highly emotional. So when things happen, no matter what it may be, we follow the ego mind. We slip into worry, stress, fear, anxiety, and in the heart mind that doesn't exist. And yet we don't know how powerful we are. So we don't know that we can shift and change things. It's kind of a dilemma, because you imagine that all of us are omnipotently powerful, supreme, manifesting, abundant beings. But we don't know that. So we don't reach inside ourselves and surface with the God that we are and focus on things that we want. And let the other things that we don't want just pass through, not even putting a finger on it. So as long as we have these bodies, we naturally attract whatever we are focusing our attention upon. And we don't know that. So these bodies we're in, they're like an engine. It's like this magical machine. And our mind, the brakes, gas, and steering wheel. So what is the fuel for the manifesting? It's the spirit, which is something we cannot lose, create, or need to fill up. It is forever flowing inside us as us. It is our essential nature. And no matter what we do, think, or believe, we can never lose the connection with the divine fuel inside us. And you get buried in muck created by the mind. Yet once we investigate the source of any block and truly uncover its mask, we will discover the block it was never real to begin with. It was all imagined. We imagine everything. I mean, you can look at something and then you start imagining, well, what if this and this, and maybe it is, and maybe that. And all of our problems, all of them, They're created between our ears. That's where they come from, the head, the mind. All of our problems stem from the belief that we were what? Born. We are an eternal being that cannot die. So truly, we were never born. All attachment to this body, this mind, these beliefs that we were born imply that we are separate from our spiritual source. And to step into the all-powerful manifesting beings that we truly are, we simply surrender all false ideas and be one with the source. As we devote ourselves to knowing ourselves as the divine, all-powerful manifesting beings we truly are, we will see that anything is possible. Anything. But you know, it's interesting. We don't know that. We don't focus much of our attention at all on that. So this great manifesting master is ready to be integrated into our lives. We don't know that either. And the more comprehension that we have about the basics and foundational manifesting principles, the easier it is to discover the manifesting master within and experience the magic everywhere we go. We always attract exactly what we most need to know and experience. Some experiences we have in this life are simply old, repressed thought forms, trying to bubble up from the depths of our subconscious to be healed and liberated. Whatever experience we manifest in this life is ours and a result of our thoughts, feelings, and energetic frequencies. The fact that we are in this meditation right now means we are ready to receive it. So when you are able to keep your mind on what you truly desire for even a few minutes a day, you'll manifest it into your life at the speed of light. Learning how to hold your attention on one thing in a focused and yet non-rigid way for an extended period of time is your first manifesting secret. Discover the spiritual being within you is the key to cultivating this focused attention. What is most needed to achieve the monumental feat is a gentle, curious, and constant exploration of the truth, of who and what you really are. This is something that cannot be described in words, yet the adventure to reveal this great gem within it is why we are actually here. So turn your attention and open your heart towards the feelings of joy, gratitude, peace, and love. Allow yourself to go deeply into these positive sensations for at least 15-20 minutes. Use your breath as your happy pump, meaning with each inhalation, breathe in joy. Hold it for a moment. Then exhale and release this joy, spreading it over the world. Simply play with this exercise, and above all, have fun. Most of the things that we focus on are what? What are they? Well, are they uplifting, happy, joyous, and blissful? Ask yourself, what is it that I focus on a daily basis, or maybe hour to hour? What is it that I truly focus on? Now, we never draw our attention to this most of the time. I should say most of the time, not never. We're preoccupied in other directions. But asking oneself questions, you kind of just, middle of the day, ask yourself, what am I focusing on? What have I been focusing on? You'd be surprised what your answer is. And you're always gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. So you're focusing usually. What do we focus? Well, around the holidays here, I focus on coming and going and doing this and getting that. And, better get this, better get that, better do this, better do that. And around this time of year, there is joy, obviously, happiness, bliss, excitement, enthusiasm. But then there's also the worry, the stress, the anxiety, the fear. And then people feeling alone, right? Not everybody is with somebody, which is kind of funny because we're always with somebody. We're always with the universe, always. We're always plugged in to all that there is, ever has been, ever will be, ever beyond, and forever. We're never not. We can't be alone. There's no way. We just cannot. There's no way for us to be alone. Right? It's like if you even were to sit out in nature and you say, well, I'm alone. Really not, because you have the God within you at all times, and you have everything around you that you actually have created for your own enjoyment and entertainment. Can you imagine you're plugged in to a cosmic consciousness, pure consciousness, through all the civilizations, throughout all existence and beyond? All of us are plugged into that. How in the heck can we be alone? And when you realize that, you're not lonely. It connects. Lonely and alone, look, two different things. But there's a lot of people right in this now moment on this planet that are experiencing that. And we're part of everything and everyone. And we don't know that. Now, it's not like we do it on purpose. It's just that with the ego mind, we're directed in all kinds of areas, and then we don't really focus on those things. And it is prevalent. It's funny, it's about this around this time of year, right? And this is the reason is because we don't know who and what we are. When that happens, you don't know that you're infinitely connected to a God source within you. You don't know that you're an omnipotently powerful, supreme manifesting, abundant being that never dies in that body. You don't know these things. You aren't in tune with them. So it leaves that area, so the ego mind fills it in by worry, stress, fear, anxiety, depression. When I used to, I was working with a helpline, suicide line. Okay, and it's interesting because the people that would call in and talk about leaving the body prematurely, the ones that talked about it never did it, And the ones that would call in and not talk about it, right, they'd talk about everything else but that. They were the ones that would leave the body. And we had the heaviest time of the year was this time. Interesting, huh? Now you would believe that people would be happy and joyous and exciting and all that. But there's people that aren't, obviously. And the key is that they don't know who and what they are. They don't have an intimate relationship with themselves. Okay? So they don't value themselves because of that. They have this loneliness and being alone, feeling alone. And they feel disconnected from themselves. So it's very, it's confusing. Okay? Easy way out, for the most part, is you just kind of say, well, I'm out of here. And then when you realize that you've left the body, and you get balanced, and you start going, holy cow, why the heck did I do that? So you decide that you're going to leave in that body, your experience is going to be cut short because you decided to cut it short. So we have so much as far as what we're experiencing and what we choose to experience. We experience things not like let's put it this way, we don't really care to experience them, but we experience them. We would prefer to experience uplifting, happy, and joyous things. And that's the funny part, because we can shift whenever we want. You can shift gears from focusing on one thing. Then you say, I don't care to focus on that. I'm going to focus on this over here. Why would I focus on this? No reason to. Out of fear, maybe. Imagine what we would do. The majority of us knew absolutely within ourselves that whatever we focused on, we would create. Okay? Whatever we focused on, we would create. Now, what do you think we would do? What do you believe we would do? We wouldn't focus on those things because we know that we would create them. So why would you would say, no, I just leave those alone, I'm going to go over here. I'm going to focus on this. So many of us are distracted from ourselves. So many of us are judging ourselves on a continual basis. Now, it doesn't mean that we're, throwing it at ourselves. We're so used to judging ourselves that we just don't know we're judging ourselves, right? And others. You judge yourself, you're going to judge others. It's automatic. And the one thing that the majority of us are missing is the deep eternal love for ourselves. The deep eternal gratitude for ourselves and for this life. It doesn't, see, all that outside of us, which is very distracting, of course, none of us are exempt from it, but we have all that outside of us. And to each of us, it is different, slightly. Each of us don't view it exactly the same way. It's like somebody says, well, I'm going to climb a tree. The other one says, oh, I'm not going to climb that tree. Or someone says, I'm going to jump in the river, and the other one says, no, I'm not going to jump in that river. I'll put my feet in there, but I'm not going to jump in it. It's how we perceive what we create. Now, what happens when you don't know you're creating it? Or you don't believe that you're that powerful of a being? You say to yourself, oh, there's no way that I created that. Something else did. I often hear, listen, watch people who believe that the power is outside of them. They believe that. They believe that there is something that is there that's outside of them that saves them. Right? You've heard people say, the God above, or like we've said so many times in this country, one nation under God. See that? Under God. That's a belief that God is separate from us. And instead of under God, one nation of God makes a lot of difference, makes a big difference. Not only to say it, but to comprehend it. See, there's a lot of things that you can see by watching and not judging the big picture on how things have been put into place for us to embrace and believe in that are really not true. You see how confusing that can make a civilization over many, many, many moons? And nothing really to discover outside of it unless we focus on something that we wake up to and say, this isn't, I'm not buying this anymore. This isn't, there's something amiss with it. And that's how a lot of us wake up. We just all of a sudden say, none of this feels right. None of it feels good. It feels off. And it should. And when you start to say that to yourself, it feels off, it is off. Because our natural state of being is joy, bliss, happiness. And no fear. That's our natural state of being. Our unnatural state of being is what? Fear, worry, stress, anxiety, depression, all of that stuff. Greed, hatred, manipulation, deception. And what's happening right now on this planet? We are seeing more and more. Now, it's a validation for some because some know, inherently sense, that everything is whacked out on this planet, for the most part. Now, others look at it and say, wow, that's just off the charts. To see something that you kind of knew was there, but it never really surfaced, and then it starts to surface in a big way, huge way, and you actually get to view it, and you go, wow. It's really exciting. It's not a downer because things are being revealed that should have been revealed a long time ago. Why weren't they? Because the vibrational frequencies weren't there to expose it. But what an education for us. What a tremendous trip that we're on with this, which is part of our journey. That's absolutely immeasurable as far as our comprehension is saying. And some people are saying, wow, I didn't know that it was so deep and so big. So we learn. Now, we really haven't learned up until recently about any of that because it was so hidden. Right? It's hidden. Has it woken up a lot more people? Absolutely. And will continue to do so. It's a catalyst. It's a primer for those. And then for those that are aware, it's a validation. It's what they knew and felt. They just didn't see it out in the open. And then when they see it out in the open, they go, wow, it's about time that this is transpiring. Not to wish ill upon anything or anyone, but it is time for it to be totally exposed, completely exposed, period. And we're on this great journey, this endless journey. And it is for us to discover ourselves and who and what we are. Both our emotionality, about how we feel about ourselves, about all the things that we hang on to real tight, that we discover that we don't need it, it's not there, it doesn't serve us the greater good, so we can drop it finally. You let it go. It's just like wacky thoughts that come in from past interactions, and you go, boy, that's dead long ago. That's totally gone. There's no reason to even spend a second on that. Dead and gone. And then we wander off into the future, and then we have expectations and attachments and what is this and that. And this is why we learn more and more to stay in the now. It's all we have. We don't have anything else. We never did. While we're in these bodies, we focus just on the now. Now, one might say, well, how the heck do you do that? You know, you got all this stuff going on and everything. How do you focus on the now? Meditation, like we do and have been doing for years on these calls. You find a comfortable place that you're not going to have outside interference. You get into that comfortable position. You relax into the body. You're as still as you can possibly be. And you focus on the breath rising and falling. That's it. You know, one might say, wow, that sounds like it's really boring. Being silent means that you're communicating with the God within you. Why would that be boring? We'll spend hours and hours worrying, stressing, and fearing about something outside of ourselves, right? That we created, actually. That's a lot of energy. Instead of focusing on the now and being in the moment. You've heard this statement, you can be here one day, gone the next. Not really gone, but you leave the physical form. We don't need to have a story, right? If we have a story, we put, in place of the story, we put gratitude. I talk a lot about gratitude because gratitude is huge. Everybody's got a story. But when we identify the story that we are most attached to, the one we repeat most often, each time we start repeating it, we can simply state one thing, that we are grateful, what we are grateful for instead. Always shift. If you're headed down a hole about your thinking, focusing, immediately shift to gratitude. Immediately pull in and say, what am I grateful for right in this very moment? It's amazing because it pulls you out of that ego-mind clench of worry, stress, fear, and anxiety. And you're focusing on something that you wouldn't in a million years focus on. Something physically is going on with your body, and you start focusing on it, right? That's what happens. You keep focusing on it, and you start worrying, stressing, and fearing. Don't you? See, we all do that. And what happens? We focus on it, we create more of it. So we switch immediately and say, what am I grateful for right in this very moment? And this time of year, with the holiday, it's absolutely imperative that we focus on our gratitude. Grateful for everything. Grateful for the moment we're in. And if you have them, grateful for friends and family, grateful for the food, grateful for everything. And this time of year, believe it or not, is the time of year you should really be focusing on that all the time. living in a state of gratitude. Why do we do that? Why do you have to have a state of gratitude? Because it moves you away from the ego mind. And it brings you closer to your natural state of being, of the God that you are in that body. I'll join you in the meditation. I'll return to close us out. Take an easy and slow breath in through the nose, and an easy and slow breath out from the mouth. Remain still, focused on your breath rising and falling, relaxed into the body. Melt and merge. Start your day by merging with the energy all around you. And when every part inside of you, with every part, try it. Simply imagine melting, merging, and becoming one with every thought that presents itself inside your mind for 24 hours. Do not let the mind enslave you. Give yourself over to the great ocean of existence and be one with everything. The moment you can fully merge, then you are truly free. Take this with you for the rest of the day into the evening and night, the following morning. We'll return here Tuesday, December 24, Christmas Eve, 2024. That's 3:15 p.m. Eastern to continue our global guided meditation call. And then Wednesday, our time for change call. Be gentle, kind, generous, and humble with yourself at all times. Be in the highest of the highest high, deepest of the deepest deepest, purest of the purest purest. Eternal gratitude at all times, no matter what's happening around you or within you. Open your heart and allow the magic to flow in.